Hello? Alright, good. Of course, this is not a professional movie. This is not a movie at all. This is a response video for a quick response and lengthy response. And in order not to get clicks, not to get views, but to be able to discuss to certain idiots of exactly what I'm saying, because apparently typing in text is too difficult for them to understand. So, one of the things that I'm going to be going over things that I've seen in the news most recently, and then I'll be going over the things that I can recall off the top of my head of the topics that I've discussed with people on YouTube individually. One of the things that I've seen on the news is that Trump is extremely desperate, and I'm going to go straight out for say he is a flat out fucking hypocrite, and I think that somebody should shove a broom up his ass, okay? Because you cannot go up to the people in the press, talk about how there is a witch hunt, when you've opened your career in politics talking about Obama's birth certificates being in itself a witch hunt. Okay, or the email thing in itself also being a witch hunt. You cannot tell people that their stuff does not matter when in itself a lot of people would say the same about Hillary's emails, but you in yourself, you say people want to know, people have a right to know. Well, I say people that want to know, people have a right to know about your tax returns. When people say like like you're trying to delegitimize Obama's or Trump's election status by saying that the Russians helped him. Um, First off, you do not get us to make the argument that anybody is trying to delegitimize somebody else's thing after you open your career talking about how Obama's a Kenyan from a Muslim Kenyan whose birth certificates were covered up and all that shit. You do not get to do that. Okay. You do not get to do it when you spout things like Obama being the founder of ISIS. Okay, you do not get to talk about other people trying to delegitimize or bring doubt into our election system when you yourself were the ones that gave creation to the whole "it's a rigged system." The one that would only accept it. You, Trump supporters, do not get to make that defense. Okay. We, on the other hand, we do get to make that defense because Hillary got 2 million more votes than Trump. And then we also get to call you deplorables because you seem to think that Trump won the popular vote, citing that other people do not, that it was just illegal voting. We get to make that argument because we actually have a basis for our accusations. Especially when it comes to like Trump talking about the hacking thing. Okay, you guys used to hate on Obama. You hated on Hillary, talking about how she was too close to the Saudis, how she would sell territory to the Saudis, talking about how she would do a lot of stuff that just I don't even. It's painful to even think about it. You guys figured, oh, there's something. There's something. Okay. I had a conversation with a Trump supporter on YouTube. He talks about how the Trump supporters understand the difference between real and fake news. So I asked him a very simple question. What about Pizzagate? And they still believe Pizzagate was real. You do not get to say that you know the difference between real and fake news when you think Pizzagate was a thing. Okay. You guys need to check your privilege. Okay. Check your privilege. We people who are Hillary supporters try to check your privilege as in correcting you, and you blatantly try to personalize it. You say, oh, you're just a Hillary supporter who's a butthurt and all that stuff that she lost the election. It's like, there's a difference between doing something because you're hurt, like you guys do when you were like, oh, who won, who won, who won, look at who won, now let's hear you say something, bitch, and let's hear you say something, and you go around and the only thing that you say is like, yeah, we won, but we're like, what did you win? No, don't answer that, okay, don't answer that. Okay, I'm gonna check your privilege right now. You won nothing. Okay, you people, you say that, like Trump's going to repeal and replace Obamacare with something better. Still no details. I mean, I hear a lot of things like he's going to replace it. I hear a lot of things about repeal. Repeal is for one thing, yes, but replace, still waiting. Now, when it comes to our legal system, dear God, we are a laughable country. If there is any senator or politician or lawyer or anything at all watching this, you people really, really make us laughable. You do. You really do. Okay. And I mean this with the utmost of affection. You guys make the United States legal system a joke. And when I say this, I'm saying Obama has a lot of people in his cabinet that went through a rigorous trial. They did all the paperwork, they did everything right and everything straight. Trump's people haven't even filed the non-disclosure agreements yet and hadn't even done the background checks. And they're already going through hearings and you're already trying to get them appointed and all that stuff. These people wouldn't be cleared on a naval base without that kind of stuff. And you guys are clearing them to run one of the highest positions in office. I've just received news that the Republican-led Senate is taking the first step to repeal Obamacare. This is what you people won. No Medicare. No jobs. I hear a lot of things that are extremely desperation on the things. You guys say, like Obama, like Trump's making America great because he's already creating jobs. I'm gonna have to check your privilege on that one, because we already saw that Ford and Chrysler and Carrier and pretty much every company that he has ever bragged about making jobs in the United States has already come forward denouncing any involvement or any influence that he's had whatsoever. If a company takes the initial steps that to say, like, yes, Trump's saying that he made this thing happen, and then they say, no, he didn't, or as I should say, like, oh no, he didn't. Maybe I'm saying that wrong, but they are saying, okay, when it came to Ford, they're saying that they brought back jobs here, not because of anything that Obama or that Trump did, but because the demand for cars of their type was greater in America than it was in Mexico. That was it. It was the same thing for Chrysler. They figured, demand in the United States is higher. Now that would be under Obama's achievements, because Obama helped the economy be stable again, which allowed people to get more cars. More jobs, more cars. Higher demand. For instance, recently, we had 2 vehicles. We have two vehicles, both of them Fords. We have a thing for Ford vehicles, mainly just personal thing. Preference, anyways. But, the point still stands. The only reason why we're able to afford those vehicles is because the banks and because of the jobs that Trump wants to take away from us. And I mean that very literally and bluntly, because my mom works for Medicare. She works as a Medicare employee, providing services to people who cannot take care of themselves, helping them to become able to take care of themselves, or to aid people who need help. For instance, you racist motherfuckers wouldn't give a lady who was an immigrant, who had been living here for over 10 years, paying into her taxes, and she is a citizen, mind you, now, but she was an illegal immigrant from way back when, from before the laws of immigration were in place. And I think she's been here like 20 years or something. She fell down, fucked up her shoulder, went through several years of pain, and you guys would not provide her, and I'm talking to the racist people, I'm not talking to everyone, you guys would not provide her with a translator, you would not provide her with Medicare whatsoever, and she was in pain, getting addicted to painkillers, Vicodin primarily. Now, because my mom speaks Spanish, she is fluent, from Chile, an immigrant who came here legally. Technically illegally, if you ask me. There's a little bit of technicalities, considering she was only legal for so long my dad vouched for her, which only goes to say white people are, in my known experience, far more violent than black people. My experience with black people is more on the scale of ignorance, but I know that's more of a education value that does not discriminate between white and black. I've seen a lot more white people who are more uneducated. In fact, I had a conversation with like a few people just a few hours ago who were very uneducated people. And, one of the things that I had to bring to point when I'm on that thought is I trust a mechanic to fix my car. I do not do not trust him to deliver the mail. I trust my mailman to deliver the mail. I do not trust him to fix my car. Everybody has their professions. Everyone has their skills. You may or may not like them, but it is the performance in which they offer that is most important. People need to understand that fact, and I have seen people who do not understand or give respect to that fact. So, with that said, it is something that needs to be extremely and painfully made clear to people. Now, onto the comment section of people's posts. I haven't exactly read the posts on these. Mostly been looking at the notifications bar whenever I put anything in other places. I see people say, give Trump a chance. Well, there I say you have a double standard, because whenever Trump takes a shit, you say that Hillary would do worse. So why don't you give her a chance? Or are you just using her as a scapegoat? And it does seem like you are using her as a scapegoat. Hillary, on the other hand, I understand this to be very politically sound. This is actually very tactically relevant. From what I see in my experience with politics, is that the DNC and the RNC, they had their stuff, but the DNC had a backup plan. See, in the event that Trump wins, then Hillary could take the blunt. And that would be, she gets to go on the sidelines, take a nice long desert vacation, while you have to deal with Bernie. And one of the things that I do have to discuss with you people about the burn, is you guys politicize him. Trump supporters politicize him primarily. You say, how untrustworthy the DNC is and all that shit, yada 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 yada. One thing I do not see is Bernie complaining. Bernie seemed perfectly fine with it. I mean, for all I know, he might have been in on it. Okay. From what I do see, though, is Trump supporters being incredibly dishonest. Being incredibly blind to things. I talked with a Trump supporter earlier, and he says that Hillary was going to sell territory to the Saudis, and she was too close to big money and all that shit, yada 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 yada, and propaganda, 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 fake news, which is something you people on the Trump side do not get to argue about, primarily because you fed upon it like a leash, starving for blood. Okay? I'm sorry, people, check your privilege. Because you guys seem perfectly fine with fake news so long as it helps Trump, but you seem to have a problem when it's against him. So, again, check yourselves. I saw a thing earlier. A guy says that Hillary killed a lot of people in Benghazi. 9 investigations found her innocent, including one of those investigations done by the Republican Party themselves. Out of all 9 investigations, no affirmative guilt has ever been found. In fact, they've actually found her to be innocent. However, it is a simple fact the investigations ever took place that you people are demonizing her for, despite the fact that anybody can host any kind of investigation at any time. I could hold an investigation against my neighbor because their dog is too loud. Does that make them bad? No, it just means that somebody is wasting taxpayer money to investigate the sound of a dog. Which is what you people seem to be alright with, because you guys seem to think that, wasting taxpayers for your medical isn't a good thing, because apparently you hate Obamacare. But, you apparently seem to be okay with a witch hunt looking for Hillary's deleted emails. And you seem to have a problem with a witch hunt finding Trump's taxes, which is... you people can't tell friend from foe, left from your right. You can't tell your thumb from your fingers. So, I hear people say, just accept it that Trump is our president to be, and I say, check yourselves. Did you ever accept Obama as our president? No. You went on an 8-year witch hunt, and then you claimed that he was doing nothing. You claimed he never did anything. I remember that the biggest fear we had was paying $4 on the gallon, and jobs. We were in the middle of a recession. The thing about that is, and I have to say, you people really need to check yourselves. Okay, check your privilege. Okay, because first off, Bush got elected for a second term under the promise of keeping the war up in Iraq to hunt down Saddam Hussein, and putting an end to Al-Qaeda. And then you voted for Obama because he planned to shut down Gitmo and bring back our soldiers. Now you are hating on Obama because he brought back our soldiers. Now you're complaining that he did what you wanted. You went into a war because you wanted revenge for the Twin Towers, which I can completely understand. But then you went and voted for a guy to put an end to the war, which he effectively did. But then you blamed him for the creation of a terrorist organization that was created during the Bush administration. And then you demonized him for doing exactly, what you wanted, to shut down Gitmo. And not shut down Gitmo. He wanted to shut down Gitmo, but you Republicans wouldn't let him. And then you expect us to just lay down and let Trump walk over our freedoms. You guys hated on Hillary because you thought she was too close to big business. And now we have Trump hiring people from ExxonMobil oil companies and people who apparently, from what I've witnessed earlier today, can't even accuse Putin of being a war criminal after several pieces of evidence and citations were brought up. In fact, during that little thing, they asked the guy, like, you lobbied, and like, this is something I have to say, okay? This is a point I have to say. You people hate on Democrats because you call them lobbyists and whatnot. But then you have lobbyists like Trump himself, lobbyists like the people in Trump's cabinet, being brought in, and the only thing Trump has to say is, I'm getting rid of lobbyists for you people to think he's actually doing it, despite the fact that the people in his cabinet are in fact lobbyists. And okay, just a final checking of your privilege. You didn't like on Hillary because you thought that her conflicts of interest with her Clinton Foundation made too much of an impact in her decisions in government, and yet we have a guy, Trump, who has exactly that with Trump's businesses, and already displaying that conflict of interest as he is utilizing his office in order to intimidate and pressure other officials in other nations to host and do things in Trump Tower for the sake of boasting his income. You see, when Obama did things which you never gave him credit for and still refused to give him credit for, Obama hosted events in the White House, hosted conferences in White House conference rooms. Trump is hosting them in his Trump Tower, even right in front of the escalator. And he's not answering your questions. So, check yourselves. Please. Damn. I'm not going to give you any evidence. I'm not going to, because I know you're not going to accept it. You say you've done a lot of research and shit, and then you cite things from InfoWars, and then we try to give you evidence, like documents, like on Rachel Madrow's show. She gives you evidence, and you call her a liberal. You say she's in the pocket of Hillary, and she's butthurt about Hillary losing. Well, I say you people are butthurt that the guy you voted for is a communist spy from Putin's regime. Sorry to put that so colorfully, but it's the way it seems. I mean, when you have a guy who seems to be okay with Russian hacking, I have to say this: check yourselves. Because you guys were concerned about Obama and conflicts of interest with lacking of care for national security. We have a guy literally saying that there's nothing to be concerned about when it comes to national security when our national security is compromised. You have a guy trying to normalize compromising of our national security. So check yourselves. I hear a lot of people, they're so eager just to simplify things down to their 4th grade level, which is, you're a liar, you're an idiot, you're a moron. And they're like, oh, I got proof you're a moron, you didn't say everything that I agree with. And I'm like, check yourselves, people. Check yourselves. Because you're not God, and neither is Trump. In fact, I had a guy earlier tell me, like, you must be a Hillary supporter that's pro-war and pro-CIA. And I looked at that, and I was like, what the fuck? Back the truck up? Did somebody just hit the freight train? Because this guy just hated and spat on the CIA. A Trump supporter hating on a company or an industry or an intelligence branch of our United States government who has been serving the American interest and keeping our secrets and finding our intelligence and organizing our intelligence since I think it was Reagan or something. It's like, they've been servicing America for over a decade, over 2 decades, and you people hate on them because why? Because Trump calls them incompetent? I mean, how much more anti-American can you get? Because that's pretty damn anti-American. But you guys seem okay. You seem perfectly okay with this anti-American moron who is shitting all over your civil rights. And the only thing that he can give to make his people feel any better is that he says that I have been busy bringing back jobs. And he can't honestly tell you a single one. I saw a conversation where a guy says that the Young Turks is a liberal hack and that Alex Jones is the only true source of information. You know what I say about that? I say a guy who says juice boxes make you gay. The guy that promoted Pizzagate, which apparently a lot of Trump supporters still believe is a thing. And a guy who says that the lizard people exist. I say he's in the pocket of Trump. And I find it difficult to take it seriously when a guy would go onto the Young Turks stage during the DNC. Or the RNC or whatever it was. There was a thing on it. I saw it while it was happening on the live feed. Alex Jones goes onto their stage and he's spreading this propaganda, and Kent gets, or Jack, or however you pronounce that, from Young Turks, Alex hands him a t-shirt that shows a picture of Clinton of Bill Clinton and the term rape on it. And that just pisses off Kent, or Jack. And I honestly have to say, he did things a lot more. Coach, he held back a lot more than I would have. I would have punched the guy out, bitched him out, and whatnot. And, spitting on him? That's tame compared to what I would have done. Okay. Some person comes onto my stage, starts spreading that propaganda, unauthorized, unwarranted, uninvited, just trying to hijack that kind of news reports. That's just that's so many kinds of fucked up. But then he goes on to his own, and then they get into this huge argument because the people from the Young Turks, they have an actual moral compass, and they don't stand for propaganda. And one thing I do admire the Young Turks for is that when Alex Jones started spreading propaganda about Bill Clinton raping people, he mentioned how Trump was actually federally charged with rape, or in a federal case being accused of rape, whereas Bill has only been accused of it by people. It's never been taken to a federal court case at all. And that's something else, you people need to check your privilege. You say these people are just Hillary hacks, and yet, when you claim that they're just, paid Hillary supporters that are out to get me and all that shit, they're just desperate and all that crap. Well, what about you? How you went on a smear campaign, bullying that Latina lady, calling her Miss Piggy and Miss Housekeeping. And then you go on national TV and you lie to the people and you say that you were trying to protect her job. You're gonna say that that Trump's good for business, and I'm just gonna check your privilege right here and there, and right here and in this. You guys seem to forget the amount of businesses that Trump put into bankruptcy because he refused to pay them. But of course, the only thing you care about is calling Hillary and Obama a mass murderer. And yet you can't even cite a single incident in which she's actually been charged or any type of meritable evidence. You cite things from Alex Juicebox Makes You Gay Jones. It's like... I remember how you guys, Trump supporters, think that, oh, that Michelle Obama was a guy. You people question about how Obama handled 9/11. Our United States government is now a laughable joke in which every nation in the world will be able to put into their own little pun in every day of their work. And even now they're already doing it. And they're going to say, hey, guess what? Trump got people without proper clearance into high positions of security. Trump got Russian sympathizers to command posts of authority in America. Not just the usual sympathizers, lobbyists, and corporates. The 1% that you people hate so much. So I ask you again, Trump supporters. What did you really win?